Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. If you're new around here, my name is Samantha, and along with my husband Tom and our two girls Mila and Callie, we make up our Wandering Hearts. We've been travelling Australia in our caravan for the last year and a half, and we just finished our big lap of Australia. He's ready. We made it! We're home.
And I know a lot of you watching are probably considering buying a caravan, considering travelling around Australia, or just interested in what it's actually like being in a caravan with, 4 people, small space, a year and a half. What actually happens? The first question I want to ask, do you think caravanning is for most people?
I would say no. You're in a very tiny space for starters, and you've got to kind of want to spend most of your time together. You need to like the person that you're with. I know a lot of people have a love relationship, but you've also got to like them. I mean, there's a difference there, I think. The caravan is only so narrow, so you're going to be brushing past people all the time, especially if little children are walking around with you as well. For one, you're gonna clash literally into each other's bodies, and then 2, you're gonna mentally clash because in a small space it can get frustrating, even for us. Like, we like spending all our time together, and we actually love having the kids' bedrooms like basically in our bedroom.
I think we had some experience, like early on when we were together. We did Europe for 6 months, but we've also never really had a problem being close together. We like each other, so it works well for us. The big red flag would be, like, if you aren't 100% sure if you want to spend all your time with the person, if you even have to probably think about that, it might not be for you.
You just gotta have a lot of patience with it, honestly. And it even took us a good 6 weeks when we first moved into the first caravan we lived in to kind of adjust to that closeness. Honestly, you will know if you are a person that can live in a caravan or not. So if someone was to think about caravanning, what do you think would be something that surprises them?
How much they're gonna love it? I think that it's going to be totally different to anything you've done in the past. Any kind of big change like that always has an adjustment period. We've done a lot of big changes in our life, going between different houses, different overseas locations. We had the bus before this, we've done a lot of different things, and what we've learned doing that is that there's always about 2 weeks where you're going to feel uncomfortable. You don't have any habits built for the new environment. It's literally different. You're going to feel uncomfortable. The next 2 weeks are kind of like a halfway point. But after 4 weeks, you're going to be just as normal as you were at home in your new environment. It's kind of a benefit of being human. We change to our environment pretty quickly. But I think you're going to enjoy it. Like, it's going to be so different, and it's going to break you out of whatever routine you had. If you felt stuck doing what you were doing, jump in a caravan. It will disconnect all of those past habits that you had, the way you used to think and what you used to do. And I think that's what will surprise you. If you've never done a big shift like this, the surprise will be what doing a big shift is like. It's a little bit unsettling, but if you know that in a month it's going to feel normal and it's going to feel great, then you can kind of enjoy that change. What should the average person then that's thinking about doing this consider the most before they actually go?
Probably what sort of caravanner they want to be. I think you have to decide what you need and what you want out of your lap. If you want to have more experiences of like fishing or like lake swims or having campfires with all the space around you with no one around, obviously off-gridding would be a better choice for you. We went with staying in powered caravan parks mainly because we have already done the off-grid lifestyle in our bus a few years back and we loved it, but I think at this time in our life we just would have preferred having power to not worry about if the aircon's going to work on a really hot day while our baby's napping. Tom needs to work, so if we needed Starlink we could connect it easily. Many things like that we just decided caravanning in caravan parks was for us. If you are trying to plan or deciding what to do, just sit down and decide whether you need your power or your water, if you'd prefer more space. Yeah, more of like a camping style rather than your home being moved to different blocks that are convenient. Another thing you should probably consider before doing the lap is obviously how long you're going to go for. People like us, I suppose, we didn't think we were going to start off doing a big lap. We were set out to do 4 months. So you might be like us and be like, oh, we'll just go for a 4-month trip down the coast of New South Wales. And then you'll end up doing an entire lap for a year and a half. Definitely consider the time of year you're going, how long you can go for, things like that. The obvious things that you need to consider before going for a trip. Alright, so what do you think would be the worst thing about living in a caravan for you?
When I think about it, there's nothing that I didn't like. So I guess, like, if we had have gone back in time and did the whole thing differently, there would have been some things I didn't like around just moving every day or every couple of days, moving randomly at random times. I didn't like that. There was a period coming back, we moved like all the time. We were in on a weekend or moving on a weekend or moving in the middle of the week. And I think like if you are completely disconnected and you're not doing any kind of work and you don't have anything you've got to do, anywhere you've got to be, then you probably can prioritize moving a bit quicker because you don't maybe need to stay as long. I don't know. It also depends on your timeline, because I'd still want to stay a week everywhere even if I didn't have anything else to do, because I just like that. Even if you get a bit bored in a place, that's kind of special. That's kind of a cool thing. Moving erratically was what I didn't like.
I definitely agree, because like having a routine is so important for us, especially because we want to travel a few years, so we wanted to try and make it, I guess, easy on us but also enjoyable, and not get to the end of it and kind of be sick of moving. What was like one of the tasks you had to do that you wish you didn't? Because I reckon I know the answer to this.
I mean, changing the toilet in caravan parks that have like grills, that's unpleasant.
Especially when you're not even the one to use the toilet in the first place.
Literally don't. I never, do not use it.
Going back to when we had our off-grid bus a few years ago, one of our worst things in that was probably filling up the water tanks all the time.
Yeah. Drive to a certain part of town to fill up water, or
which we did every
run out of
few
water
days.
or like run out of power. And again, it really depends what you're looking for. If you're going for like short and sharp adventure, then like off-grid and probably travel faster, all that stuff's great. If you're doing like a year, 2 years, 3 years and you're living in it, the small annoyances, they become big annoyances over time. Whereas we get back now, I've got no big annoyances. I'm not any more annoyed at the caravan or wanting to move out of the caravan than when I started. And that's because we've done it in a way that's sustainable for us, and your sustainable is going to be different to our sustainable as well. So there's obviously like some sacrifices, like we were kind of talking about, with living in a caravan. But what makes living in a caravan actually worth it?
It's funny because before I said being in close spaces can irritate you, but honestly I think being close together is what makes it worth it. We're especially lucky because Tom runs his own business, so Tom can tinker with your work hours a little bit more than other people can. We spend a lot of time together. Like Tom will work a few hours in the morning and a few hours over lunch, and that's it. We are together 24/7 in this family because I mean Tom works a couple meters away from us. I think what makes living in the caravan worth it is it's just being with the people that you love all the time. Some people might not like it, but I love it. I'm definitely a person that thrives when I'm with my favorite people, I suppose. And having Tom with us all the time and the girls growing up with their dad and mum being able to do everything that they do, I think that's pretty special. Obviously the places we get to see makes it worth it too, but at the end of the day it's not about where you go or what you see. It's definitely about how we are living together and I guess creating bonds with our children. I think that makes it worth it. What did you think would be the best part about caravanning?
The way I work is I don't think about things. Before we left, I did not answer that question in my own head. It's not intentional, but I just let things kind of happen and make decisions about it after the fact. It wasn't so much about caravanning as it was traveling full time. That was really the main point that we were tackling. So it was like, how can we travel full time? Not necessarily focusing on caravanning. Like we actually were only going to go for 4 months in the caravan.
So it wasn't about caravanning for us. It was about leaving home and not having a home base, I suppose, because we were going to be just living Airbnbs. Ended up much better because now we have a home. 2
months in, I told friends of ours that we met up with, we would never buy a caravan. That was because I never saw us staying in one for longer than 4 months. The longer we did it, the more my mindset shifted of like, actually for us to travel full time, this could be our home base. That would be great to have that kind of security. And that's what made it worth it. If I answer that question then, while we'd already been caravanning for a little while, between our two caravans, so almost asking like from renting a caravan to owning a caravan, what was the most positive expectation was just like have some security around somewhere that we could call ours, that we could also succeed in our goal of traveling full time. But I mean, your really worst case scenario is like you have to free camp because you're absolutely broke and you're just eating rice. One step above that, if you're making some money, then you can go anywhere, and that's your worst case scenario. So to me, that was definitely what shifted and became my most positive expectation of owning the caravan. If someone has their caravan then, what's the one thing that you would tell them before they set out?
Probably to prepare to do it longer than you thought you would. Honestly, I see so many families begin it and maybe plan for 6 months, 12 months and end up doing it longer. They either find a way to make money on the road, they stop halfway and decide to get a job and make money on the road. So maybe just kind of be open to the idea of doing it for longer, and then also the idea of doing it for less, because some people just don't enjoy it. Honestly, they think it's going to be the trip of a lifetime, then they get in the caravan, they pass the 6-week mark and they're still just in each other's
Have you met anyone
bubbles.
like that?
I haven't personally met someone like that, probably because we only meet caravanners.
They're still going.
They're still doing it, but I see on the Facebook pages, yeah, definitely. A lot of people honestly struggle for different reasons. Maybe they had their kids in school for the last 4 or 5 years, and then obviously they have to take them out of school and homeschool them. They've got the added pressure of homeschooling your children, and you've never done it before. And then also having those children back full time, which you weren't used to either. So there's different reasons. A lot of the time you're not with your partner for as long as you are when you're caravanning, so you might not be mentally prepared to have that, like, whoa, I love you but I need some space. I kind of mentioned it before already, but the time frame, be flexible with that and enjoy, because Australia is surprisingly beautiful. We've just had a bit of a time shift because we had some kids to look after. This time we'll be getting into more of the details of places that we liked and stuff like that. So we'll get started. So what would you say were your top 3 places that we visited?
That's a hard one. I always think to the South Sydney coast, from like Jervis Bay, Narooma, Merimbula, Bermagui, those 4. That little spot was really nice. All on the beach, all coastal, and yeah, they were just all so nice. So that'd be like one area that I loved. Margaret River, I loved that as well. That place is just awesome. Just the vibe and the people in Margaret River I really liked as well. And then another one, my mind instantly went to a couple of places like Phillip Island, Melbourne. I liked a lot of the Melbourne region, but then also like Tassie. I feel like it probably needs to go on the list, even above that, because there's so much there that's just awesome.
Yeah, I feel like top 3 isn't a very fair question because you could list top 100.
I nearly just did.
It's always a tricky question when someone asks us when we sit down with them and they're like, what was your favourite place? And you're kind of like, Australia? Is that an answer?
What's one thing that we packed in the caravan that you could not live without?
It would be a kitchen appliance, whether it's the Thermomix or our smart oven. Definitely those, because we have to cook for our youngest a lot. She's got a lot of allergies and intolerances, so we cook for her very frequently, and the Thermomix and the smart oven made it so much easier. In our caravan we didn't go for a gas cooker in the kitchen like a lot of caravans have.
What did we replace it with?
We replaced our oven in our caravan with a dishwasher. Actually, now that I'm thinking about the dishwasher, another kitchen appliance, couldn't have lived without that, because we did 4 months in the Jayco before it without a dishwasher, and God, you wash up so much because you're trying to keep your bench clear. Dishwasher, Thermomix, smart oven. The concertina door to our kids' bunk room really changed caravanning for us. It was so good to have separate spaces to put them to bed at night. Alright, so what was the place that surprised you the most?
Esperance. I am like a naive traveller in the sense that Semi plans everything, she looks at everything. If I had a pretty face, I would be the pretty face. I just walk around, follow her, do whatever. But I'd heard a lot of people talk a lot about Esperance. So in my head, I kind of had created this picture of like, you take some of Noosa, some of Melbourne CBD and a bit of Byron and mix it together, and you've got this magical ocean bliss. But you get there and Esperance is in WA, and everything in WA is kind of the same in the sense that there's not much going on. That's what I was expecting.
And everyone says the best beaches are in Esperance, so we kind of thought the best beaches will be in or on Esperance.
But if you walk out of the town, there's not really much of a beach area really.
It's very surprising, especially for
there was
Tom,
no news
not
there.
knowing.
Alright, what place or area could you live full time?
Right now, nowhere. But if I had to settle down somewhere in all of Australia, apart from my home base, which would be obvious I would settle there, it would probably be kind of near Cradle Mountain in Tassie. So like, not Cradle Mountain itself, there's not much going up there, but it's stunning. I don't know, just in the hills, the beautiful green hills. It was just a place that I could really picture us like buying some land and staying there for a good chunk of time.
Is Mount Roland close to
Yeah,
that?
Mount Roland, kind of near there. We stayed in a house there and it was just beautiful. If I had to settle down with a bit of land, it would probably be in Tassie.
Homesteading vibes there.
Alright, so let's tell the people what activities we did the most.
Going to cafes. And then
it's kind of true.
and then-
In seasons though.
the colder and wetter and more Victorian-esque we got, we'd be hitting more cafes. Cross that tropic and your desire for cafes just really goes away for some reason.
We didn't think it would disappear, but
Yeah.
it honestly
It just
instantly disappeared.
away.
We didn't want to go to cafes.
Honest answer would be like, we do go to cafes a lot, and then just walk. We just walk so much. At least 3 or 4 times a week, we're going somewhere for a walk. Not always a hike, but if there's hikes there, we'll obviously be doing them. So a lot of places will do a couple hikes per week where we are. And then we also chase like forests and trees and nature. We're always out. We'll do more walking than cafes because we might do 1 or 2 cafe days, but we'll do 3 or 4 walks. So.
And then beach afternoons as well with the kids.
Yeah.
We like to spend afternoons at the beach.
All right, so what are your favourite meals to cook in the caravan?
We like to go with the microwave meals occasionally.
Their favourite to
My
cook.
muscle chef, super easy to cook. But no, definitely like ramens and stuff. We like curries and a lot of Asian-based foods. And the thermi is really good for that. Probably like the curry laksa is one of my favourites. There's another video, link it above if I remember. It goes through kind of more of our food routine in the caravan, which you might find interesting. Honestly, we don't cook too much, but the 3 meals in the week that I do cook, it's probably Asian or Italian. That's our favourites. Did you enjoy staying in caravan parks?
Yeah, I think so. We're always staying a week somewhere. I like to have somewhere that I can do a bit of work, even though sometimes I'll be working outside in the rain, on the rocks. For the kids as well, the trampolines, the water parks, at every place that we stayed, or most places we stayed these days, playgrounds, they have such a good setup. So I'd finish work 8:30 in the morning, just grab Mila and we'd go out. It was just right there. You don't have to get in a car and then drive somewhere and find it. You can just walk over to it.
We also find it really easy to meet other people. You don't really have to go out searching for other travelling families because they're right next to you. And you can get that in free camps as well. It's more consistent, I suppose, in caravan parks. And yes, definitely the amenities. Sometimes it feels like a 5-star resort where you rock up and it's just so nice.
Pretty much all the caravan parks we stayed at were awesome. So
Yeah, that someone got me
yeah.
right in the face.
How much money did we spend every week?
I did a little budget up on an Instagram reel and it turned out to be about $1,500 a week.
Is that accurate?
It's so not accurate. I realised afterwards we spend so much more. It was kind of obvious, like I knew we have Telstra bills, Starlink bills, house payments back home. We realised lately that we're spending way more than that a week. Quite embarrassingly so. But yeah, definitely more than $1,500 for caravan parks. Probably on average around Australia, $400 a week, $500 maybe if you're on the East Coast. But yeah, it can be really expensive if you travel the way we do, which isn't just caravanning in caravan parks. Obviously you can do that cheaply, but I ran the numbers, it was mostly food. Food and then honestly like
It was
appointments.
like doctor bills. And...
Everything adds up. So we spend more than $1,500, that's all I know for sure. So that question would probably then lead you into thinking, what would we recommend others to budget each week? Obviously it's going to depend on if you free camp or not. Honestly, $1,500 a week is comfortable. So I guess if you've got the budget there to go up to $1,500, you're going to be sweet. Like you're not like a... Yeah, you will, because we could easily stop going to as many cafes and maybe have to stop going to the doctors. I don't know.
Sounds like we go to the doctors too much anyway.
We could cut back, honestly we could. But I think $1,500 for spending for your caravanning trip. Obviously then you've got to take into account your bills back home, phone payments, car payments, anything that you haven't added into that you need to allow for as well.
I did hear one guy that spent like 4 months going from Melbourne to near Cairns on like $60 or $70. He was only talking about accommodation. That wasn't his food budget as well.
Yeah.
Pretty much everywhere you could do a gold coin donation to get around Australia. Between a free camp, gold coin donation, like a $5 camp.
If you're happy to
You
off-grid,
could do it.
you can do it cheap.
Yeah, for sure.
Alright, so let's name our top favourite places in each state or territory. So one place in each state or territory. Which are your favourite?
I'll try and do it pretty quickly, so I'll do like what first comes to mind. We'll start like in Queensland and do like the loop around. Randomly, Yeppoon came to mind. I thought it was really nice there. We really like that. I've already mentioned then the South Sydney coast there, like Jervis Bay, Merimbula, Bermagui, Narooma. that area in New South Wales. The Melbourne region, Yarra Valley, let's say, love that area. And then South Australia, York or the Eyre Peninsula, they were cool because they were like out of the way, though Flinders Ranges was also pretty magical.
You're naming too many.
That was in the same state. All right, well, I'm trying to do it rapid fire. And then Western Australia is one state for one place. Gosh, that's like the Ningaloo, I guess, maybe?
Yeah, we could give you 2 for that one.
Well, then it'd be Margaret River and the Ningaloo.
What about Northern Territory?
Northern Territory, that pub.
Daly Waters
Daly
pub.
Waters pub.
What about poor old ACT?
There's so much there. I can't do it. There's just so many options.
You also forgot Tasmania.
Yeah, I know. I love Bay of Fires area. Beenalong Bay.
Yeah.
It's just, I love it there.
So mine would probably be Queensland, would be Hamilton Island. We had a really good time there, it was awesome. New South Wales, so many good places, but all very similar. Probably Port Stephens, I really liked it there, and there was lots of different sort of things to do in the same area. Victoria, Bright, love Bright. Obviously it leads you into the snow, so maybe just a little sly mention of Mount Hotham, that was pretty epic. And then Tassie, Cradle Mountain, definitely. South Australia, Flinders Ranges, stole that one from Tom, but it's epic there. And then WA, I'm gonna give it 2 as well, but I would say Carragini, and then yeah, Margaret River. Northern Territory, Daly Waters pub was actually really cool. But aside from that, Kakadu, I really loved the lookouts in Kakadu.
Yeah.
ACT, Canberra's beautiful, so at least they've got that.
Are there any products that made travelling with the kids easier?
Travel pram. It takes up much less space in the boot of the car. I don't think I'd want to go anywhere without it. We take it travelling overseas with us as well. So travel pram. We've got the baby Zen Yo-Yo, I believe. And Mila can even sort of squish her legs in at the base. So Callie can be in the pram and Mila can kind of shove herself in the bottom as well and hold on. And then apart from that, we've got the Ergo Baby 360 carriers. I wouldn't go without those either because we use them for hiking. And even Mila fits in one still on Tom's back. And then apart from that, in the caravan, we've used I think it's from Little Nation. There's what would you call it? A screen for Callie's cot. It's really good to keep her safe from falling out of bed at night. So if we could do it all over again, what would you do differently?
I wouldn't have packed that little fold-up chair for my first office for 6 months. That was rough, sitting on that for like 6 hours.
It's like a little fishing
bit of
chair.
fabric. Now I've got like a proper office chair.
Shoves in the back of the car.
If I could do it all over again, what would I do differently? I don't know. Not much.
Not much, yeah.
I wouldn't do much differently.
No.
Would you do it again?
We would definitely do it again. Probably not in the official lap, unless we just happened to.
Which is how we did this one.
Well, yeah, we just accidentally fell into this lap, which is a bit weird to say. We'll probably just follow the seasons more. So if we are wanting to do Queensland, we'll probably just really focus on Queensland. And also we're planning on squeezing in more international travel between the caravanning more this time. Now that the kids are older, we're kind of ready for that stage as well. We will do it again and we will continue traveling in our caravan, but we might not do a typical lap. Let's finish off this video with a bit of rapid fire question and answers. So I'm going to start with Tom. Which was your favourite state? Come on.
Rapid fire fail. Victoria. Favourite town?
Oh, it's really hard. Favourite town? How are you meant to pick one?
Can't even pick a favourite state. So
I keep thinking of
town.
natural places, but they're not towns. Okay, favourite town. Margaret River. Favourite Eggs Benedict.
The French cafe in Fremantle.
Little French Nest.
Little French Nest.
Mine would probably be White Elephant in Margaret River. So good.
What's the best caravan park?
Port Arthur comes to mind. That one was really nice, but we got an ant infestation, so that's also a negative.
I mean, we mostly noticed the ants after we left.
Yeah, so we had a good time there. It was just bad afterwards. But then also, I think it's a Big Four in Tweed Heads, and it's really, really nice too. It was our first ever one we went to. Best coffee.
The Borsam Bagel Shop. It's
In
also
Fremantle.
in Fremantle again. Shout out to Freo.
Freo.
Yeah, the coffee at that little bakery shop. I don't know the name, so you might find it. Then yeah, Melbourne region. There's a lot of great coffees there. Best day trip.
Best day trip. I cannot think of anything right now, honestly. Coffin Bay Oyster Farm Tour. That was pretty fun. Very different to what we've done. And then apart from that, just a quick mention, Great Keppel Islands. That surprised me how beautiful it is there. Best beach.
Aspirant's hands down. Probably my favourite was the one that has like the ocean comes in to a sand walk out to the granite rocks.
Wiley Bay.
I have no idea.
I think it's Wiley Bay. That was our first beach we went to in Esperance too, so that's pretty cool.
Yeah, it was stunning. They literally get awarded the best beaches in the world, and they are the best beaches I've ever seen in the world.
Yeah, mine in the Esperance area was probably Hellfire Bay. I really liked Hellfire Bay.
Is that the one with the granite with the hole in it? You could like swim out to it?
No, that's Twilight Bay.
Twilight Bay was so
There's a lot.
nice.
We'll just say Esperance like everyone else.
Oh,
Everyone else
Hellfire
says
Bay. Hellfire Bay was super nice too. Favourite paid activity that we did?
Manta ray tour in Exmouth, or out of Coral Bay, sorry. And then the flight we did over Aspirant. We went over all the beaches, so that was pretty special too. Favourite hike?
There was one we did, Hancock Gorge to Kermit's Pool in Caravanning, that was just an adventure. You start down hundreds of steps, walk through the bottom of the gorge, wade through ice cold water, climb rocks. It was just an adventure. It was crazy.
Yeah, I got 2 secretly that just quickly come to mind, so there's going to be at least 10 more for me. Alligator Gorge, just at the south of Flinders Ranges, was really nice. And then in Port Stephens we did a early sunrise walk up to, I can't remember what the view was called, but I'll link it below because it was really, really beautiful as well. And also Kings Canyon, just near Uluru, was really, really beautiful. We didn't do that this lap, but we've done it in the past with Mila, and it was really beautiful. So add that to your list as well if you haven't got it already. This one's a funny one. So what area in Australia did you get the most waves by other travellers?
WA, hands down.
And when we say waves, we just mean while we're driving in the caravan, other caravanners just kind of give you the 2-finger wave. We even saw someone with a printed out hand just hovering above their steering wheel. That's how desperate you get at these things. Which place was the least amount of waves?
Victoria, hands down.
So hopefully this video can be of help to anyone planning their lap, on their lap, finish their lap even, and wanting to do another one. But if you do have any more questions, hit them in the comments below and I'll just reply to you there. And then apart from that, hit that subscribe button because we are flying out to Europe in, 3 days or something? Which is crazy. Tom's a little bit nervous, but he'll be okay. He's a big boy. But yeah, we can't wait to show you guys a bit more of our world, and it's going to be awesome. So hit that subscribe button and we'll see you next week.
Let's go.
Thanks for watching, guys. Good job.